Sam Altman is officially back on OpenAI's board of directors. Welcome back to the AI Breakdown. At the resolution of last year's wild week of firing and then rehiring Sam Altman at OpenAI, part of the resolution was a fairly significant shift in how the board of directors was architected, or at least who was on that board of directors. Most of the previous board left at that time. As Sam Altman came back, most of the previous board left, with the one holdover being Adam D'Angelo, the CEO of Quora, and two new board directors were also appointed. Former Meta and then Salesforce co-CEO Bret Taylor, as well as former Treasury Secretary and Harvard President Larry Summers. Notably at the time, Sam Altman did not rejoin the board, and the question was, would that be temporary until after a investigation/review, and in the context of another set of new board members joining as well. You'll also probably remember that board interactions were a core part of the firing in the first place. The only explanation that the board ever gave for Altman's removal was that they had lost confidence in him and that they thought that he was not being fully truthful with them, although around what and in what ways we never heard. And then on the flip side, of course, Altman himself had been trying to remove a different board member, Helen Toner, based on a number of issues, including a paper that she had written for Georgetown that seemed to criticize how OpenAI approached safety while lauding rival Anthropic. Well, now a few months later, at the end of last week, we got a big update around a set of new members of the board of directors, as well as a follow-up around Altman himself. The TLDR is that Sam Altman will be rejoining the board, as will three new members: Dr. Sue Desmond-Hellmann, the former CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation; Nicole Seligman, the former EVP and General Counsel at Sony; and Fidji Simo, the CEO and chair of Instacart. OpenAI said very little in their announcement about the post. Board chair Bret Taylor said in a statement, "I am excited to welcome Sue, Nicole, and Fidji to the OpenAI board of directors. Their experience and leadership will enable the board to oversee OpenAI's growth and to ensure that we pursue OpenAI's mission of ensuring artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity." Literally, ChatGPT could have written that. Before we get into the specific backgrounds of these folks, let's talk a little bit about the interpretation. Most of the coverage has focused on Altman himself. Part of the announcement was that OpenAI had completed its investigation that was undertaken by law firm WilmerHale. That firm concluded that Altman's, quote, conduct did not mandate removal. Instead, according to the information, they found that Altman's firing resulted from a, quote, breakdown in the relationship and loss of trust between the prior board and Mr. Altman, but that the old board had acted too quickly, quote, without advance notice to key stakeholders and without a full inquiry or an opportunity for Mr. Altman to address its concerns. WilmerHale also found, quote, that the prior board believed its actions would mitigate internal management challenges and did not anticipate that its actions would destabilize the company. Here's how OpenAI described the investigation. WilmerHale conducted dozens of interviews with members of OpenAI's prior board, OpenAI executives, advisors to the prior board, and other pertinent witnesses, reviewed more than 30,000 documents, and evaluated various corporate actions. One notable thing, given all of our speculation around the time, the investigation concluded that the board's decision did not in fact come out of any sort of product safety or security question. They said it wasn't about the pace of development, it wasn't an OpenAI finance question, and it wasn't about misrepresentations in statements to investors, customers, or business partners. It really was just about Altman's relationship with the board itself. Now, as this was all happening, other news outlets were resurfacing issues that arose around that time. The New York Times published a piece about CTO Mira Murati saying, key OpenAI executive played a pivotal role in Sam Altman's ouster. Murati brought questions about Mr. Altman's management to the board last year before he was briefly ousted from the company. The Times wrote, Ms. Murati wrote a private memo to Mr. Altman raising questions about his management and also shared her concerns with the board. That move helped to propel the board's decision to force him out, according to people with knowledge of the board's discussions, who asked for anonymity because of the sensitive nature of a personnel issue. Now, Mira, for her part, did not respond to the Times' request for comment, but did contradict their framing of the whole engagement, saying in a note to other OpenAI employees that she and Sam, quote, have a strong and productive partnership, and I have not been shy about sharing feedback with him directly. She also said that the idea that she went to the board with these concerns mischaracterized what actually happened. Instead, she said that she did not reach out to the board, but, quote, when individual board members reached out directly to me for feedback about Sam, I provided it. All feedback Sam already knew. Mira also commented publicly on X about this, effectively blaming those former board members for being the sources in the New York Times article. On March 8th, she wrote, governance of an institution is critical for oversight, stability, and continuity. I am happy that the independent review has concluded and we can all move forward united. It has been disheartening to witness the previous board's efforts to scapegoat me with anonymous and misleading claims in a last-ditch effort to save face in the media. Mira then shared the note that she had sent with OpenAI that read, Hi everyone, some of you may have seen an NYT article about me and the old board. I find it frustrating that some people seem to want to cause chaos as we are trying to move on, but to very briefly comment on the specific claims here, Sam and I have a strong and productive partnership, and I have not been shy about sharing feedback with him directly. I never reached out to the board to give feedback about Sam. When individual board members reached out directly to me for feedback about Sam, I provided it. All feedback Sam already knew. That does not in any way mean that I am responsible for or supported the old board's actions, which I still find perplexing. I fought their actions aggressively, and we all worked together to bring Sam back. Really looking forward to get the board review done and put gossip behind us. Meanwhile, two of the board members who were working hard to push Sam out and who did leave when he came back were Helen Toner and Tasha McCauley, who released their own statement last week saying, OpenAI's mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. The OpenAI structure empowers the board to prioritize this mission above all else, including business interests. Accountability is important in any company, but it is paramount when building a technology as potentially world-changing as AGI. We hope the new board does its job in governing OpenAI and holding it accountable to the mission. As we told the investigators, deception, manipulation, and resistance to thorough oversight should be unacceptable. There are a great many people doing important work at OpenAI. We wish them and the new board success. Basically, they are continuing to say that Sam was deceptive, manipulative, and resistant to oversight. Having effectively won, Altman himself was able to strike a more conciliatory tone. In a long tweet, he said that he was happy to welcome the new board members and thankful to the team for being resilient and staying focused. He also thanked Mira, reinforcing what she had said about their relationship. And finally, he spoke to Helen Toner, although not by name. He said, I learned a lot from this experience. One thing I'll say now. When I believed a former board member was harming OpenAI through some of their actions, I should have handled the situation with more grace and care. I apologize for this and I wish I had done it differently. I assume a genuine belief in the crucial importance of getting AGI right from everyone involved. We have important work in front of us, and we can't wait to show you what's next. Now, in terms of who these new board members are, OpenAI has long and impressive bios, Reuters tried to add a little bit of context as well, and the information tried to aggregate some of their experiences. They wrote, 2 of the 3 have taken companies through major crises or milestones, Seligman with the massive Sony cyber attack in 2014 and Simo with Instacart's IPO in 2023. Each board member gives OpenAI insight into a different area. Desmond Hellman with healthcare and philanthropic circles, Seligman with media and entertainment, and Simo with consumer technology in Silicon Valley. Ironically, the information continues. Other than Desmond Hellman, who provides a philanthropic-ish halo, the nonprofit board is chock full of for-profit champions, with backgrounds as executives of major corporations and startups. That summary concludes, quote, all in all, this just seems like another step in OpenAI's journey from a research-focused idealistic organization to a profit-making, product-centric startup. The advantage of the new board members' backgrounds is that they hopefully have the gravitas to balance out Altman's whims, because for better or worse, the CEO's position at the company has only been strengthened by the results of the investigation. Axios made this point as well, writing, Altman's return to OpenAI board leaves billionaires in control. Friday's announcement that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman will return to the nonprofit's board locks Silicon Valley's billionaire class into control of the destiny of society-transforming artificial intelligence. In their Why It Matters summary, Axios continues, AI will be shaped by rich men in the markets that made them rich, not by the scientists and engineers who are building it or the governments that will have to deal with its impact. And indeed, from kind of all sides, the first layer of discussion is disappointment for different reasons. You have some folks who are arguing on X that this set of people just doesn't know enough about AI to be really credible in this role. Stability's Ahmad Mostak wrote, great board for a SaaS company but tasked with AGI and how to mitigate it ending democracy, capitalism, humanity? Meh. This is tech that is society changing, and so we need a mix of real expertise and civil inclusion in this, plus appropriate oversight and massive transparency. In particular, data transparency is something we must demand now. There is no reason not to have this for any frontier labs. You wouldn't eat food that you don't know the ingredients or hire folks with unclear CVs. Most of those building this technology do not practice what they preach and want to have control over this and others. That's the reality. Zvi Meshowitz, meanwhile, points out that we don't know anything about the AI-related knowledge and views, especially as he puts it on existential risk, of any of these new board members. And I think that to some extent, part of the feeling here is a disquiet at the disparity between how powerful this technology could be in its impact on society, and how little control it seems like there is over who actually has control of it. But, as we're seeing with Elon's Grok actions and others, maybe that will provoke a different type of response. In any case, it is interesting stuff, and so we will just have to keep an eye on it from here. However, that is going to do it for today's AI Breakdown. Until next time, peace.